What's a man gotta do to get that kind of attention from you?
It's hard to say exactly, but you seem to be doing fine.
Well, great. Though truth is, it ain't me that wants you.
Oh?
No, Miss Jacqueline Natla does. From Natla Technologies. You know, creator of all things bright and beautiful.
Seal it, Larson.
Ma'am.
Feast your eyes on this, Laura. How does that make your wallet rumble?
I'm sorry. I only play for sport.
Then you'll like a big park. Peru, vast mountain ranges to cover, sheer walls of ice, rocky crags, savage winds, and there's this little trinket. An age-old artifact of mystical powers buried in the unfound tomb of Qualapec. That's my interest. You could leave tomorrow. Are you busy tomorrow?
Greetings, I'm David, and this is Tomb Raider. The original Tomb Raider on the PS1, actually. So I've been kind of wanting to do this game. Here's the controls. I'm doing this post-commentary because I'm not good enough at the game to do this live. So we're gonna start off with in Laura's home. And doing a post commentary also allows me to check the guide occasionally with less abrupt cutting, you know. Um so yeah, this is PS1. And it really shows. So first thing you need to know about old school Tomb Raider is the controls. The controls are probably the biggest turnoff for this game.
Okay, let's do some tumbling. Press the jump button. Now press it again and quickly press one of the directions and I'll jump that way.
So instead of, because this game came out before um joypads, or not joypad, the sticks were created.
Sorry about the crates. I'm having some things.
Joysticks, sorry. So the way they got around that in early 3D games, specifically on the PS1, is they used something called tank controls. And they're primarily in the two main franchises that they're in is the old school Resident Evils and the old school Tomb Raiders. This is the same. Basically, if you played any of the PS1 era Tomb Raiders, you played a Tomb Raider with tank controls. And the way they work is the up arrow will move Laura in whatever Lara Croft in the direction that she's facing. Left and right will turn her, and then back will make her hop back. In Resident Evil, this is a bit more necessary because of the pre-rendered camera angles. Although in this game, the main reason why tank controls are helpful is because the entire game is developed around Laura's jump, or more specifically, the blocks. So when Laura's jumping, if you try and do a running jump, it'll take her one block before she can run and before she can jump.
And almost immediately press and hold the jump button.
So you see that she had a bit of a delayed jump. I had already hit the jump button by that point.
Right, this is a really big one. So do a running jump exactly as before, except while I'm in the air, press and hold the action button to make me grab the ledge.
So the control scheme that I'm using, I think it's the primarily most popular control scheme, but the jump button is square, and I'm talking about the the PlayStation controller, which is would be like X on an Xbox controller. Uh, A or cross um is your action button, so that allows you to like pull up uh and interact with the objects and stuff. B or circle is the the roll. The roll is not overly helpful in this game, I find. Uh it's really the best way to like get Laura turned around.
Let's go for a swim.
But it's not like a Dark Souls type of roll where um you can avoid getting hit just because you rolled. Doesn't really give you invincibility frames as far as I'm aware.
Right. Now I'd better take off these wet clothes.
There was actually a myth that naked Laura was actually a thing in this game, I think in particular. I believe I want to say in one of the other one of the other PlayStation games there was actually a code that you could enter that could give you naked Laura. I'll probably kind of interchange between Laura and Lara. I think it's Lara Croft. I think that's how you actually say it, even though I think it's spelled like Laura. It's confusing. Whatever. Semantics. Alright, so now that you don't have to do Croft Manor. That's just kind of a tutorial area for you. And in this game, there's not much to explore there, but in the second game, there's a lot more to look at. You can actually go outside and stuff. So now we're getting into the game proper. So the first level is actually in Peru. Now each level, I guess, area, region, whatever, has several sub areas to it. You'll never like go backtracking into old areas. Once you visit one, you're done, essentially. This was actually, I think, the first PS1 game that I had ever beaten. When I got my PS2, I actually managed I found a PS2 at Goodwill. Alright, so these are dart traps. Just run through and you should be fine for those. They move pretty slow at this point. I think the game kind of wants us to go up there, but we're not going to do that because there's a little secret over here. So if you come up to this and do a backwards jump, so that's the square and the square and the back button. And you'll have to kind of get a feel to the timings because sometimes the timing of when you input a button press is weird with this game. But and then obviously you use cross to grab the ledge. Alright, so let's actually head up this way since this is where the game kind of wants us to go. And again, I'm doing this post commentary, so I already know kind of what happens in these. There are some bats in this area. None of the enemies in this starting area, starting like two areas, honestly, are all that difficult. The bats just kind of come out of nowhere sometimes, but there's always an audio cue for them. And especially in like high stakes battles, the music will kick up. So if you come over here, don't try and jump. Cause you won't be able to do it. Just hit cross and the up button, and Laura will do it automatically. That's tank controls at their finest right there, is when you just you barely hit the wall, but you have to like sidestep your way over so you can pass it. Now, I've only played a little bit of old school Resident Evil, and I don't know if I like. I think I kind of like the controls um in the Tomb Raider games a little more than I like them in Resident Evil, but maybe that's just because I've played the original Tomb Raider all the way through. Uh, Obviously, if you've played this game, you probably have. Well, maybe you haven't played the old school Resident Evils, but if you have played both of them, uh, which one do you like more? Because I don't know. Like, I think it might just be bias that I like Tomb Raider's tank controls a little more. So obviously, if you've never played either of them, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But it feels like that's me trying to hit the X button, trying to get the switch, get Laura to pull down the switch. Um, so in like Resident Evil, the turning Laura like that, or turning the character like that, it feels more like you're rotating on a spindle. Like there's no sort of resistance or really any animation other than the character just kind of moving their legs a little. Feels a little less natural to me, I guess. Like if I was if I was controlled by tank controls, like how these characters are, I feel like I would control much more like Laura does than uh, a Resident Evil character. And maybe you don't know what I'm talking about and just think like, dude, it's just controls. Who cares? But I don't know. It's a topic, something to talk about while I'm sitting here watching watching this. I believe in the anniversary remake of this game, because this game did get a remake, oh, probably 15 or so years ago at this point. Um, and it was, I think, because I only played a little bit of it. Um, and I'm pretty sure one of those bridges will fall apart as you're walking across it. I tell you, the remake, that anniversary at least, when I was trying to play it on my PC, which you know is a relatively new PC, and the game is, as I said, probably about 15 years old at this point. Um, uh, I don't know what was going on with Laura's hair, but it seemed like the end of the ponytail just kept getting caught on something, and it would just spaz out as I'm running. It is so weird to see. Alright, so as you can tell, there's a bear down there. If you fall down there prematurely, um, fucking bats, um, he'll get you. Although, if you hang off the edge like how I did, um, you can actually bait him out. I don't believe there's really anything down here. I don't think there's any secrets down here. Um, so there's really no point in coming down here other than to get the kills, which, I mean, who cares, right? Oh, no, actually, there is a small med kit down here. That tile that we just walked over controls controls that door, which is our way out. It'll lead back to the room with the bridges. Phew! All right. Sorry, I cut I cut a bit of audio of myself sneezing. Honestly, sneezing is absolutely the worst like bodily function that you have to do. I feel. I don't know. Obviously, wonderful topic. What is what like bodily function do you hate the most? Like me, it's probably sneezing. All right, there's a bunch of wolves here. They should show up here in a second. Best way to avoid enemies is honestly just jumping around. Unfortunately, Laura, because of the tank-like controls, it makes combat kind of a pain in the ass. It's my only thing with the music, like, it tends to keep going even if there's no enemies around. So, I'm like, still kind of cautious right now. I have my my gun's still drawn, just in case. But I believe that's all the wolves in this room, so we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, when approaching an item that you want to pick up, the easiest way is to just walk to it, which with my control scheme is the right bumper, or R1. Alright, so unfortunately pulling this switch a little early, that door will close before we can actually get to it. Because there's one more thing that in this room that we want to go and get, and it's up there in all that greenery. So in order to get over there, we have to jump across from this platform. Just a running jump should make this. Be careful when you do a running jump, though, because it has happened to me before where I'll run, I'll jump, and I'm still holding the run or holding the jump button, and as soon as I land, I jump again, and then I jump to my death. It's definitely a common sort of thing that happens. Yeah, so unfortunately we do have to go back over to that switch in order to open the door. I don't know if hitting something on your way down will help kind of break your fall or not. Because obviously, old school Tomb Raider game, any Tomb Raider game, falling from too far of a height will hurt. And it can be kind of difficult to judge how far of a height you can fall from. I think it's it's definitely 4 or more. It might be 3 or more. I can't remember offhand. My only gripe with the darts is the fact that they're so hard to see. Okay, I think that's all that's in this room other than these 2 trap doors. You probably could just avoid the wolf by standing on those. I believe there's one more wolf in this area that we gotta watch out for, but honestly, it's not that difficult to avoid him. Don't fall down there, otherwise you're gonna have to backtrack your way up. For a Zelda or honestly pre N64, like the game looks decent for the time. All right, music kicked up. That means there's an enemy nearby, and that's it. This is when I really wish the music would stop, or at least start to like fade back out, because this makes me nervous that there's still another wolf somewhere. The right and left trigger buttons, or R2 and L2s, will allow you to do that sort of a shimmy to the side, whichever side, obviously, whichever button you hit. And yeah, I think that's all the controls. That was dumb. That's something I was trying to avoid. Yeah. Looks like you can get back up going that way, but you'd still have to maneuver yourself back around. Alright, so that's it for this episode, and in the next episode, we'll continue searching these tombs. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.